Lamine Yamal cuts inside, gets the shot away, and it's into the back of the net, and
Barcelona didn't just find Lamine Yamal. They were forced into him. And that's the part nobody wants to admit. Because if you strip away the highlight reels, the next Messi edits, the million-view compilations, what you're left with is a brutal truth. Barcelona didn't promote Yamal because the timing was perfect. They promoted him because the club was desperate, the finances were broken, and the safest option became the most dangerous one. A 15-year-old kid. And somehow, that kid didn't just survive. He started outshining legends. But here's the real question. Is Yamal the greatest teenage footballer we've ever seen? Or are we watching football create its next pressure cooker tragedy in real time? Because two stories are happening at once. The public story is simple. Wonder Kid becomes superstar.
Simply amazing! The youngest player!
The hidden story is darker. A teenager becomes the face of a collapsing giant, and the world starts demanding he becomes the new Messi before he's even finished being a child. And if you want to understand why this feels different, why coaches talk about him like a once-in-50-years phenomenon, why grown professionals double-team an 18-year-old, why rival legends can't stop praising him, you have to go back to the beginning. Because Lamine Yamal didn't grow up in comfort. He grew up with pressure. His story starts in Catalonia, split between working-class realities, in a place called Rocafonda, an area outsiders love to stigmatize. And Yamal turned that into armor. Every time he scores, he flashes 304, the postcode, like he's telling the world, I didn't come from your system. Your system came from me. At 6 years old, Barcelona pull him into La Masia. And from the moment he touches the ball there, coaches don't talk about potential. They talk about inevitability. Not because he's the fastest, not because he's the strongest, but because his brain is already ahead of the game. Talent gets you noticed. Football intelligence makes you unavoidable. Then, April 29th, 2023. Barcelona throw him into a La Liga match at 15 years old. A century-old club record falls in one substitution. And here's what's unsettling. He doesn't look like a kid playing with adults. He looks like an adult hiding inside a kid's body. That's when the machine starts. First start. Standing ovation. Then Villarreal. 2 assists like it's nothing. And suddenly, fans aren't asking, is he good? They're asking the question that changes a player's entire life. Is this him again? Messi. But that phrase isn't a compliment, it's a sentence. Because Messi isn't a standard. He's an anomaly, and history punishes anyone forced to chase an anomaly. Even Guardiola, who coached Messi, tried to slow the hype. He admitted Yamal was special, but said there would never be another Leo. Fans didn't care, because Yamal kept doing things that broke the timeline.
A goal for the ages!
Youngest scorer in Barcelona's La Liga history. A contract with a release clause so absurd it felt like a warning sign. Don't even try. And here's the detail that makes the whole story surreal. Around this time, Yamal is still dealing with school. One day it's exams. The next, he's dismantling professional defenders in front of 90,000 people. That's not normal life. That's a double life. Then Spain calls. September 2023. Senior debut, goal, 16 years old, youngest player and youngest scorer in Spain's history. And suddenly, he isn't just a Barcelona story anymore. He's a global one. Euro 2024 is where the Wonder Kid label dies. Youngest player ever at the tournament, calm, creative, unafraid. Then the semi-final against France. Spain wobbling, pressure rising. And Yamal, 16, steps into a shot and bends a goal that doesn't just win a match. It announces a new era. Spain's coach calls it genius and quietly asks the world to protect him. Because everyone inside football knows what comes next. The spotlight hardens, expectations grow teeth, and the kid disappears behind the narrative. Spain win the tournament. Yamal becomes the youngest European champion ever. Then Barcelona do the symbolic thing. They hand him the number 10, the shirt that breaks some players and crowns others. The shirt Messi wore. And instead of hiding from it, Yamal owns it.
Defense, lovely drop of the shoulder from Lamine Yamal. He keeps his balance.
Now let's talk football, real football. Barcelona play him on the right, left-footed. But what separates him from most teenage wingers isn't speed, it's timing. He doesn't dribble because he's panicking. He dribbles because he's already seen your next 2 steps. He slows the defender, freezes him, then explodes just enough to create the angle. And suddenly, a Trivela cross slices the box apart like it's routine. That's why opponents don't defend him like a kid. They defend him like a system. Champions League semi-final, Inter double him, still can't stop him. Their coach admits it afterward. Players like this are born once every 50 years. That's the difference between talented and generational. Generational bends tactics. But no rise like this comes without shadows. Racist abuse after a Clásico. A family trauma that reminds everyone he's still human. Off-pitch noise where every mistake becomes content. Because fame doesn't just watch your goals, it watches your cracks. And here's the part that should make everyone uncomfortable. For most stars, pressure begins after they've won everything. For Lamine Yamal, pressure begins before the prime even starts. So the question isn't, can he be the next Messi? It's darker, and more important, can Lamine Yamal survive being Lamine Yamal long enough to actually become a legend? Because if he does, this won't be the story of a wonder kid. It'll be the story of football watching a teenager step into a crown that weighs 1,000 pounds and somehow never bow his head.